Councilman Daughtridge, thank you for coming and doing this with us again this week. I really appreciate your time and all that you do for the city. It's certainly been a strenuous time to be on council, and also the mayor, as you are acutely aware. But, I think we're going to get there, although, you and I have talked several, conversations, and, I think we have some challenges in front of us. And how do we manage through it? I think we have different ideas. But let's give a little overview of kind of the meeting last night, committee of the whole and the meeting itself. And then maybe let's just talk about how you're feeling about how do we get through these challenges. And I certainly have my own opinions.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me again, Mayor.
Sure.
And yes, I agree. It's been some challenging times. And going to the committee of the whole last night, it was closed session.
It was.
And, personnel and attorney-client privilege. And,
right.
It's...
But we did get some crime stats. They were just they were in our packet. There was no real discussion about them. But overall for the last month, it looks like crime has dropped both from a property crime and violent crime perspective when you're looking at year over year.
Yeah, but and there have been some increases, and it's been about 15 days or 10 days since I've looked at it.
Sure.
I think what I'd like to get out of this is we've had, a change in the chief.
Right.
We've got an interim right now. And I think Chief McCoy's doing
I think we need to shout out to him. I think he's done a great job.
And I think he's good with the leadership, bringing all our police force together. And we need that. And as well as working with our sheriffs.
Right.
Because that's so important.
Sure,
because crime doesn't stop at the city limits. And so we need to work with our law enforcement. And I think bringing that together is something that has been needed for a while. And it's a breath of fresh air.
No question about it. And, he's been in the department, in and around it for years and years and years, and has those relationships. But you know what? And I appreciate all that he's done, all that he's doing.
Right.
And as I understand it, we do have somebody who has accepted a job. Is that something we can talk about? Or is that something we need to go back and bleep out of this thing? But anyway, we do have an offer out there to somebody who else. And so we'll see if they accept, and we'll get a chance to meet the new fellow and police chief. And so that'll be a good thing. Right.
Yeah. That's about all we know at this point.
That's all I know. I mean, I've just told you all, and I can't remember if it was a closed session or not, but I don't think that's particularly secret since the offer has actually been given and accepted. So we will have a new police chief. I'm not sure exactly when they start, but Marty McCoy's done a great job for us. I've been impressed with him, and it's a breath of fresh air. Not that our previous police chiefs have been awful. Don't suggest that either. But anyway. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I think that's something that's important for everybody to know.
Right. Well, and then we've got it right in front of me, but year-to-date crime overall is down 8%.
Right.
And then we were down with violent crimes and property crimes, like you said. So it's, 8%, 9%. It's not double-digit, but it's mighty daggone close.
That's right.
And so I think the citizens should be extremely happy about that. And then also traffic stops are up, which yours truly likes to see that, especially with all the speeding going on. Not that I'm immune from speeding myself, but
oh, come on, Lige. You've never actually sped, have you?
But the other thing is, the arrests are up, and I think what that brings to everyone is our police are actually out there.
That's right.
And being proactive. Not that they weren't before.
That's right.
But I think McCoy is certainly encouraging more proactive policing out there.
I do too. I think it's a testimony to Elton, our new manager. He's doing good work. And they're working hard. They're working hard to figure out where we are. That was a big part of our closed session. It was going over, savings, how we're going to actually derive those savings.
Right.
And so we made a few changes, to our agenda last night to reflect some of those ideas and thoughts. But we've still got a ways to go. Let's just be honest about that. And anyway, so that was really a very short meeting. I think most of it could be encapsulated with the public comments, unless there's something specific on the agenda you want to go over. Because
no, I do want to bring up. In fact, I had the question on. We certainly have our cash flow issues going on.
That's right.
And so we have some grants on there. We had a grant for $500,000 for Stith Talbot Park, and I did reach out to the city manager, Elton Daniels, and said, hey, we have a match going on. Do we have the money for the match? But the good part is if we do receive the grant, we already have the match in place, so it's not going to be additional monies
Right.
outside from our what we don't have now.
Right.
So that's a good thing
Right.
to have. I just wanted for those who do pay attention to the agenda, wanted to point that
That's
out.
right. No, I think that's important because, a lot of people, some people do, some people don't. I'm always surprised at that,
That's right. So,
So-
but then we did have a public hearing about bringing in, rezoning 16 acres off
Yep.
of Westland Boulevard, which is good if we're going to have some more businesses. So that's
Yep.
a good thing.
That's right. Well, there was no discussion about that. Nobody came to speak on it. So it was an easy vote and it happened. And I thought that was great.
Right.
I think a lot of the conversation really occurred in the public comment section. And I think there's a lot of confusion out there.
Right.
I'll tell you what I heard. I heard several folks thinking that, it took council members, 4 of them, to override what the mayor can and can't do. And, so they obviously don't watch me at the city council meetings because I've been repeatedly told I don't have a vote and that I've got no influence. But anyway, it was a sort of a quasi bittersweet moment there for a minute. I felt like somebody thought that I had some real power. So I kind of enjoyed that moment, but then it was wrong.
Right. Well, in North Carolina, we have and in Rocky Mount specifically, we have a council manager,
That's right.
former government. And, you shouldn't sell yourself short, Mayor,
No,
because
no,
you're the face of
Sure.
Rocky Mount.
Sure.
When businesses are coming to Rocky Mount,
Sure.
you're there to be the cheerleader, the advocate for
No
the
question.
city. And I think you've done an exceptional job with that.
Thank you.
And, so that, the mayor's job is extremely important. And also you do run the meeting. And
Oh, I know, and I look. I appreciate that.
Well,
I wasn't trying to belittle too much the
Right.
job, but and look, I do a lot trying to build consensus, and we do try to meet with the public, and we do try to do what we'll call internal sales, where you sitting on issues, and how can we get to a place that we can find some commonality and maybe make things happen. And there's a lot of work that goes on that we all do that you really don't get necessarily publicized, but I think that are significant because it really is about building those relationships. And it really is trying about determining what those things are, because we don't have enough time in a meeting to do it.
No.
We just don't. And we don't have enough time in the committee of the whole, and we can't all get together
right.
in one room. That would be very efficient, and I understand why there are public meeting laws, and I think they're good things.
Right.
But it does handicap the ability for efficiency. We'll say
Right.
it that way.
And especially since we have 7 members on our city council who each have a, let's just say, strong will.
That's right. That's right. Strong opinions.
Strong opinions. That's right.
For sure. For sure.
So it makes your job a little more difficult.
It does, but I do love the job. But the other thing is, keep hearing over and over and over, and it came up last night a lot. Was why are the citizens having to pay for mistakes that council or previous administrations have made, or wherever you want to place this cash flow issue? And it is a cash flow issue. I mean, we do have debt, but it's not as if we have borrowed excessively. In fact, we can't even borrow money without the state's approval.
Right.
So we don't. We can pass a resolution to go, but until we get that blessing, it doesn't happen. But so we're talking about utility rates. We had one gentleman come up in particular saying that he was a large electric consumer, and he is, and the impact it was going to have on his business, and all those things are true. But I think the one thing we need to talk about, and I see you've got some rates there in front of you, maybe we can go through, is that while we have had an increase in rates, when you look at the relative scale to markets around us, the Wilsons, the Greenvilles, the Raleighs, or wherever, we're still very competitive on our rate. We're still pretty inexpensive on the relative scale. And now this is your bailiwick. You sit on the electricity's board. You're our interface with them. You're the face of Rocky Mount, and I think you've done a great job with that. Thank you for spending that extra time. That you'll get compensated.
Just a small correction there. I'm on the Kemple board, not electricity.
I'm sorry. I mean, you're right. So,
well,
yeah, you're on the big board.
Not on the big board.
But we need to get you on the big board. That's right. You're the board in training.
Well, really, what you're referring to in rates is we haven't voted officially on the rates, but we do need to raise some revenue.
We do.
And that revenue, a lot of our revenue where we can change right now is through our enterprise, our utility funds, which is electric, water, gas, and sewer, and so forth. And as you mentioned with our electric rates, even after we do this increase, we'll still be one of the lowest in the area.
That's right,
Mayor.
That's right.
In fact, we'll be with the load management on there, we'll be better off than even Wilson or Greenville,
Right.
Edgecombe, Martin, Duke Energy, which is
Right.
ultimately where we receive our
Edgecombe, Martin, go up.
right. The one that is a little more cost effective to live or to get power is our neighbor in Tarboro.
Right.
And so, and that's all the ones that I have in front of me now that was presented. The national average is $174 for 1,000 for
Right.
the average of 1,000 kilowatts, where in Rocky Mount it'd be $118.
Right.
So it's that's a significant difference.
It is, and that's the point I was trying to underline, underscore for folks to hear is that, we have been operating our electrical business, for lack of a better term, enterprise at incredibly affordable rates. I don't think that we have been as aggressive as some of our neighbors.
Right.
And I think it's time for us to get to that place. I think we have to. I think we just have to your point. And look, we got still infrastructure needs. I mean, we want to continue to develop. We want to continue to grow. And if we don't, as a city, then we are just dooming ourselves to failure long term. And I don't think that we should be in that spot. That's just my opinion.
No, I completely agree. When I ran back in 2019, it was all on
Sure.
based on infrastructure.
Sure.
And so I firmly believe in that. Unfortunately, we've got to build back our fund balance, which is obviously what we've been dealing with, because you're exactly correct. It's cash flow. And one of our issues, and when Councilman Jabaris Walker and Councilman Harris and I had our meeting a couple weeks ago or a week ago, talking about the issues and so forth, I tried to articulate that it is a cash flow. We spent over $100 million on items that were needed,
Right.
such as the fire trucks and the trash trucks that we had to replace. And then we've been buying some land both in downtown and surrounding areas for various reasons. Of that, we spent almost $60 million in cash.
Right.
Now, Mayor, I don't know about you, but when I go buy a house or a car, I'm not paying cash. I'm financing it.
All right.
And
I try to, because it makes the most sense, right?
yeah. And so that's impacted us greatly. And I think people need to know that, because where we are with this, it's not like we just spent money and we don't have anything to show for it.
Right.
We actually have fire trucks and trash trucks and land and dump trucks and whatever.
Sure.
The whole
bought
thing.
stuff.
Right.
We bought stuff, and that's where a lot of the enterprise. Now we don't have a list of that, and we're waiting for our team, our management team of the finance director, as well as the city manager and others involved in the finance department, to produce that for us. And it'll be forthcoming, and we're going to publish that when we get it. But I think it's also important to know that we are doing our internal audit right now, to present to the LGC, that is due on 12/31. Our internal goal is to get it done by October, and I think that we are on pace to get close to that, maybe November, but we're trying to get it in sooner than later.
Right.
And that's been one of the challenges that got us to this place, is the audits have run late. We have not gotten them as a council until much after the reporting period, and that's not an excuse, but perhaps it's a data point that helps explain some of the decisions that were made, why they were made. So, and then we have the state auditor in place. And look, I'm grateful that they're here doing an investigative audit. First of all, it saves us the money from having to do a forensic accounting of where we are.
Right.
We still may have to augment that, and I would be a huge supporter of that. But that report will be forthcoming. I have no idea how long it takes. The dates I kind of keep hearing bounced around are in that January time period, but I don't know if they make the goal. They certainly don't answer to me.
Right.
But I do know that we'll publish that, and I'm very excited about it. And look, the auditor has prosecutorial authority. He can bring charges, if there's any criminality in the matter, or at least seek others to do that. And so that's a new power that the auditor has that have had in the past. And so I'm excited to see that, and I feel really good about that.
Right. And Mayor, likewise, I'm excited that we're having this audit by the state auditor. It's unfortunate that they're having to come in to do
Sure.
that, but it does several things. First of all, it's a third party.
That's right.
It has, we have no influence over that. They tell us being the staff, what they need and what they want. They have access to information as it is, which is a great thing.
I agree.
And to your point, he does have prosecutor
ability
to bring charges.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if there is,
Yeah, that's right.
my hope and prayer is there's nothing out there, and I believe that, but you don't know.
That's right.
Until this audit is finished. But going back to the finance staff, we've got a great finance director and some good staff
Absolutely.
under Miss Spivey. Problem is we're still short staffed, and so she's not only having to be the director, but she's having to actually do the work, but she's also having to do our annual audit plus this audit in addition to running the day-to-day of the city of Rocky Mount. That was behind. So, when I'm asking for reports or other council members are asking for reports, we're, to your point about we've been trying to get a list of all the assets that we purchased that place us in this situation, and it's just not forthcoming as quick as we would like, but she's got other priorities over that.
Sure.
I mean, that's the history. So I say that I think everybody on council is excited that we've got this.
I do too.
That
I do too.
Auditor Bullock's in here and doing this, and
or his team, as not necessarily Dave coming in and doing it himself, but maybe he does. I don't know.
So, but I do want to say when it's released, it's going to be released by the auditor's office.
That's right.
It's not released by the city of Rocky Mount.
No.
I think we'll probably, typically we might have a week knowledge before everybody else, but at least that's how it was when the previous audit when Beth Wood was here.
That's right. I think I got it 2 weeks before it was going to be released by the auditor's office. They indicated they were going to do it differently this time. They were going to give it to the manager for a review, which should not be uncommon. And it's not like I got 2 weeks and said, hey, look, would you change paragraph 3 to read or any of that kind of stuff? It was just, by the way, here it is. You may want to have your internal conversations and then, we're going to go public with it. So there was no change opportunity there. So I think that should be clear because, people will jump to conclusions where there is no information. But I think that's going to be a good new starting point for us. And I'm excited by that, which kind of brings me at least to how I feel. And I don't know that we've had a lot of these conversations internally, and probably it's time to start having some of it. But, I think the process we are internally is that our manager and management team will bring us a new budget, a temporary budget, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks that we will look at and approve to work on the cash flow issues. And give us a step-by-step of how we're going to do it. We've got the overview now. We've published that. I believe that's true. But this is going to get down into a more granular kind of perspective or detail. And then we'll approve it as a council or not, or discuss it. But, at some point, the LGC, I would not be opposed if they were to come in at some level, really even hearing the comments. And I know folks are angry because I am. I'm not sure that it would make sense to bring them in just to depoliticize so much of what we're doing right now. And because I think we do have a little bit of a confidence issue with our residents here in Rocky Mount, our citizens in Rocky Mount. And look, I don't want that. I mean, I want everybody to feel like that they've been served and they understand what's going on.
Right. I agree again. And, I would not be, I think to your point, we're at the point where right now we're kind of debating where some cuts need to be made or not be made. And there's no quote unquote sacred cow out there.
That's right.
And
it can't be. It cannot be.
Cannot be. And the other piece is, I think you hit on this earlier. People are saying, well, why do I have to pay for the mistakes of management? And I get that. Heck, I feel the same way to a certain extent. But the reality is we had to have cash to operate this city. We don't have any other option. And that's why also I was going up to, the cash flow and that we have assets. So it's not like the money's gone. So, the options we have in the interim before we go through our next fiscal year is really looking at the revenue coming from the utilities and then
Right.
cutting expenses.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's really all we have.
And let's bifurcate the issues a little bit too, because I mean, I don't think we're raising utilities to necessarily raise income, but we are. I mean,
Right.
you can't deny that that's part of it.
Right.
However, you know, we were running really lean. We're going to have to go up on those utilities, and at some point anyway. Even our LGC had indicated that to us in previous discussions that our enterprise funds weren't even carrying what their expenses were. And so we're just not in a position that we can continue to do that. And I think that's important for folks to hear too.
Well, but I also think it's important, and this is
Sure.
is coming from a council member who believes in public safety and believes in enterprise funds.
Right, of course.
And they're, not saying that no one else does, but I had the opportunity to have knowledge and to work with the enterprise funds even before I was elected to council. One of my concerns has been the money that we call administrative service fee that is being
Right.
charged, and that honestly, from my perspective, and until I'm proven wrong,
Right.
we've been taking a lot of money from our enterprise funds and funding the general fund for everything from buying land to grants, whether it be the downtown facade grants or downtown incentive grants to restaurant grants, all the grants.
Right.
And if it were not for our utilities, I don't think we would have enough revenue to do that.
Sure.
And so from this person's standpoint, I think it's an opportunity where we are to readdress how we do that moving forward, not only from this perspective or from this issue from the administrative service fee that's charged to electric and gas and the other utilities, but also how we move forward as a city with our other revenue sources, whether it be property tax and other expenses such as grants.
Right.
We're not going to be able to operate moving forward the same way we have in the past.
Right.
And I don't care who's sitting in the city council or the mayor seat, it's got to change.
Right. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want, as a point of clarification, those listening, that administrative service fee looks like a central office overhead.
Right.
In other words, if I have a company,
Sure.
and I've got 6 divisions, let's just say,
Right.
and I'm providing central services,
Accounting.
administration,
HR.
however you want to define it. HR is a great one. And then I take all those costs and I divide that out over my 6 divisions, and I decide what unit I'm going to spread it out over.
Sure.
Right. So, and that's what you're talking about in
Right.
terms that may be a little rich in your opinion, or you believe that it's rich and you've been asking questions to see, okay, really, what is that number?
Right.
I just wanted people to kind of understand
Sure.
what that meant, because, oftentimes we just jump ahead because we do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're so familiar with it, but I think it's important just for folks to understand that.
And I appreciate you explaining that better, because you're right. I've learned
Right.
what it is somewhat. And so I appreciate you doing that. But anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, and it's appropriate for it to do it. The question is, what is the appropriate number?
Right.
How much of that are we taking out of enterprise funds to fund the general fund? And is that appropriate? Or it's certainly legal,
Right.
but is it judicious or smart for us to do that from a long-term fiscal health perspective?
Right.
And that's really what you're saying.
Right. And it's allowed us to live beyond our means.
That's right. Well, that's right.
I mean,
That's right.
and I'm sure if you have other council members up here, they will certainly have a different viewpoint,
Well, I mean,
and it's fine.
well, no, I think it. Well, I think it's both, kind of, right? So if I own a small business, or shoot, I'm at home, right, in my house, I get paid X number of dollars. Do I spend my paycheck every single week, or do I put some in savings?
Right.
And if I'm spending it every single week, then I have a flat tire, or I have some other something I can't quickly reduce my expenses for. That's going to create a real problem for me.
Sure.
But if I have savings, I can cover that. And that's really what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Do you strip all the profit out every day, or do you leave some in there for the rainy day?
Right. So anyway,
And I'm
hopefully,
going to go, amen. You're preaching to the choir.
well, I'm also trying to be, I also recognize that, others might have different opinions.
course,
So I
of
don't want it
course.
to appear that I'm speaking for the entire city council.
No, and I get that, and
So-
and how much? Maybe we take some, but is it all? Is it half? Is it a third? Is it? I mean, where is there a number that after you've covered your central
Right.
office overhead stuff is appropriate to use in the general fund, and that just becomes a philosophical debate that I think matters. But that's really what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Either you're spending it all or you're saving some.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway, well, look, we're basically done, and I know. I mean, it's been a quick conversation, but thank you for that. And we got a lot in front of us. We got a lot to report, and it's we're going to get through it together. I think we're going to be leaner, meaner, stronger, and better as an organization going forward.
And I agree. I guess one thing that I would like to end with, I know
Sure.
a lot of people watch your show, and I know a lot of people are on social media. And social media is great, but I think if you have a question,
Yeah.
I would love for people to contact me
Absolutely.
or contact your council member or contact you, because I think some things on the social media is good, but I think in some cases, a lot of the information out there is not correct.
Well, I will echo that with you, and I will say that in my experience, where there is an absence of information, people will generally fill the void with something, and it may not be accurate. And a lot of times, there's a lot you just don't know, right?
Right.
And outside looking in, but anyway, yes, call. Actually, please just send an email or text or
Communicate.
Communicate. It doesn't necessarily have to be a phone call, and please have a little bit of patience. Give me 24 hours for you.
Right.
If you're calling me now, if you're calling Lige, I would expect a response within 10 seconds.
Well, I've been on the phone a lot lately.
I know you have. I know you have, brother. I know you have. But look, thank you for being here, and I think that's a great thought to leave us with.
All right. Thanks, Mayor.
Yep.